Welcome to the Forward Podcast. It's good to be back this evening. Kari had to carry the load last week, but hey, you did awesome.
Thank you. The girls were great.
Yeah, we
They
had
were
a
so
lot
cute.
of really great feedback.
Yeah,
a
we
lot of
did.
fun.
Yeah.
For young girls, I thought they did really awesome.
They did, especially pulling them in at the last minute. You never know what kids are going to say. It's a risk. It really is a risk.
I never know what you're going to say. I feel like it's a risk every week.
Yeah, I especially thought it was so funny. London made a comment about that I had been irritable with my friends when I was pregnant. And I was like, the oldest London ever was during one of my pregnancies was 18 months old. I was like, you literally.
But honestly, she probably remembers it.
It may have been
She's
not
one
bad.
of our very intelligent kids. She probably does remember it.
At a year and a half, did you really remember me being irritable at my friends? Like, not even at her.
That is so funny.
It's just funny. Like, you never know what they're going to say. But they did very well. I was very proud of them.
Yeah, they did awesome.
They were cute.
Wait, Kara, we really want to jump back into this subject. Number one, I really believe that we learned a lot from, this is several weeks ago now that we've been able to record on this, but then also this is an area where a lot of people struggle.
Yeah.
And so kind of just give us a recap where we were and then kind of where we want to go tonight.
Yeah, well, we talked about personal responsibility and we kind of segued that into a little bit of time management, micro habits. We talked about my calendar for the new year and how adjusting your taking ownership over your life and your actions, adjusting that to your personality and to your learning style, and all that is necessary and very helpful. And so this week, after going through that beginning, kind of getting into the topic, this week we want to talk about apologies.
Yeah.
And I think it has come up so much in our ministry and our lives, and even personally on a personal level for you and I, dealing with family, extended family, and even in marriage, apologies are such a huge topic. And so this week we just want to dive into, when do you apologize? How do you apologize? And actually the main point is, if you owe someone an apology, you should do it. And that's summing up everything we're going to talk about.
For sure. This is kind of the summary of what we've said. A real apology takes ownership without explanation or defense.
Right.
So this, I really feel like, Kari, is where the rubber meets the road in a big way. I grew up in a big family. We all argued. We all fought. We were very defensive. Like lawyers, the 8 of us.
You guys are amazing at arguing.
And there was very little apologies that took place. If there were apologies, it was because someone went and told mom and dad.
Yeah.
Somebody got in trouble, and then it was like, say you're sorry to your sister. Sorry. That was kind of, it's not right or wrong. It was just, that's the way we grew up.
Yeah.
So I carried so much of that into our marriage. It was, let's battle this out. Let's get in. We're going to be encamped. It's this side versus this side. And I remember it took me a lot to kind of work through what is an apology? Why do I have to say I'm sorry? Why do I have to take ownership in this?
Right.
Took me a little while to really get used to it. Does that make sense?
Oh, my word, yes. And that is very common. I think it's something that it's really difficult to learn and to understand how important apologies are if you're not in a home where you see it modeled regularly and modeled really well, like in a healthy way. I read somewhere, this is not original to me, but I did read somewhere that kids who, you always hear of the families where like the parents never fight in front of the kids, but they'll fight in their room or quietly, but never in front of the kids. The kids never saw them fight.
Yeah.
Or you hear the opposite extreme, which is probably more common, where kids hear their parents fight loudly and yell and scream at each other all the time. And I used to think, and I think it was taught growing up in a lot of homes, that the quiet, like going in a room and never fighting in front of your kids, was the healthy option and that was the good one. But it's really not, because you raise kids that don't know how to fight and argue. And that's a problem, because it's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to happen. And so I've always wondered, like, what's the answer there? And then I read that when kids see the rupture, but they also see the repair, That's the healthiest option. It's not that you always like duke it out in front of your kids or, have like these conversations that are way above their heads or whatever. But on occasion, letting them hear you go back and forth and have these discussions and disagreements and see the rupture that takes place, but then also see the repair.
Yeah.
You're teaching them how to have a discussion, how to disagree, how to do it well, how to do it kindly. And then in a lot of cases, they hear one, if not both, hopefully both, a lot, most of the time, hear the apology.
Yeah.
And they hear like, okay, she was right or wrong and she's willing to admit it or whatever. And I loved that. I thought that is awesome.
Yeah. I agree. It's hard. There's even still now, there's a part of me that just does not want to agree with this.
I know.
I do not like to argue in public.
Yeah.
I do not like to we say arguments and fights, and I think most people think that's like knock down, drag out, borderline divorce, and it's not. What we're talking about is just the tiffs and the disagreements.
Yeah.
And my upbringing's very different, where I never saw that. I never learned it. And so the arguments and fights that we had with my sisters, man, they were big. And so you carry that into your 20s and you get married. It's this brand new life. And then you have kids on top of that. Gary, I agree. Like, I think there was a massive part of me that was just dig in, lawyer up, and you duke this out to the very end.
And it's like you do get in that mindset.
You do.
I'm not saying you, just in general.
Oh, for sure.
We get in that mindset of like, I have to be right.
Yep.
I have to be right.
Right.
And that is so much pride.
And that's so dangerous.
Yeah,
it's actually very
damaging.
simple because no one's always right.
No.
And I think it is learning to be able to say, you know what, they have a point here.
Right.
Or let me jump in their shoes and let me think through this totally.
Yeah.
And or knowing they're right and just choosing your battles. This is not, why are we even arguing over this?
Yeah.
Like, this is not, it's somewhere to eat. It's what color the bedspread is. It's just a little thing. So I think there's two things to this. I love that you said rupture and repair. I do believe a younger generation needs to see that. They need to see that mom and dad didn't agree on, supper or, who's going to do the dishes or what time do we need to leave for church. But then they settled it in a very harmonious, loving, even depending on each other to make the right decision. Kids need to see that. It's actually very healthy. But when it's A, either always hidden, or B, the display is there of arguing, fighting, throwing dishes at a wall, screaming at each other, to where even Christians cussing at each other and this craziness that takes place. Neither one of those are healthy.
Yeah. And
neither one.
There is a model that I've seen quite often in Christian homes where someone has a big blow up fight. And this can happen between, in a marriage or with siblings or whatever the case. And then instead of talking it out and walking through it together, everything is just ignored. It's swept under the rug and they just see each other again and act like nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's kind of passed off as like forgiveness. Like, I just forgave them. I'm just going to let it go. Like, no, you didn't. If you're still talking about it with other people, if you're still upset, if you're still carrying a grudge against them, even in your heart that no one knows about it, that is not the right way to deal with conflict. That is just as bad as keeping it going and outwardly pursuing that argument. To bury it in your own heart and to carry it around without true forgiveness is just as sinful, and it's wrong.
It's really good.
And what it does is it destroys you from the inside out because you're not clearing that account in your heart. You're letting it eat at you and you're carrying that grudge against that person. So that's a model too that I think was kind of passed off as like something that was godly. And it's like bitterness and grudge bearing is not godly.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of that because people are afraid of confrontation.
Yeah.
They would rather let it burn in their heart and bear a grudge than to face someone and say, you hurt me and I'm still upset. Like, that's really sad. But adults, especially our generation, we are terrible about that. That is a really big problem that I counsel over and over and over again. I'm like, go talk to them. Go talk to them. People want to get things right without the other person ever knowing.
Right.
And there is a time and place for that. There's definitely problems that maybe someone passed away and you never got it settled, or someone moved away, and it would be embarrassing to bring it up after all these years. And maybe you do just need to forget and move on your own, and that's fine. There's a time and place for that. But if it's something ongoing with someone, nearby, or especially in a marriage, like, get it out.
Right.
Like, have the confrontation, say you're sorry, or ask for an apology and say, I really think you owe me an apology on this.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Our generation is not great at this part of it.
They're
for
not.
sure.
I think there's two things that come to my mind. Still speaking on this segment is, number one, a lot of times I believe we need to choose our battles more carefully. The things that we get entrenched on over the years, I mean, you and I in a couple months will be married for 20 years. So over 19 years we've been married. There are definitely things I can tell even 10 years ago you would have fought me on, and like, oh no, this is what we're doing. And
I'm getting tired in my old age.
I just think we've learned. It just doesn't matter.
There's so many silly
it's okay.
things. Yeah.
For instance, here's one for me. We used to not argue a lot, but we definitely got entrenched when it came to the house and decorating the house and moving things around. Before you talk, I get to talk first, okay?
I'm just agreeing with you.
Kari used to be, okay, we're going to change the house around, we're going to move it around, or I want these pictures changed, or we're going to buy this, and we'd be in, let's just say Home Goods or Target or Hobby Lobby, whatever. And I'm like, no, Kari, no, this isn't going to match. No, and just thinking that my opinion matters, knowing you're going to win, but it would start an argument. Just trust me, it's going to look good. No, we don't have money. This doesn't look good. No, why are we moving this around? Now I got to repair the walls, blah, blah. Until finally I realized, A, you were always right 100% of the time. Every time we got done through, I'm like, I love this.
You
this
would always
so
love
awesome.
what I do.
Oh, it was so awesome.
Every time.
And number two, at that time you weren't working. Like, what do I care? You take care of the house. You're here 24/7. Like, dude, grow up. What? I literally.
This is fun.
Where's your man card? Who cares? Like, who cares the way the house is decorated? Like, this is her element. She's good at it. I'm not. So after 19 years, I've got it. You're like, hey, we're going to move this. We're going to do this. I'm like,
okay.
And the back of my mind, sometimes I'm like, oh, fighter. Like, no, we're not going to do. I'm like, no, why? This isn't a battle. She's won it plenty of times. But how many times at the end of those, 10 years ago, we would do this with all of our houses. I would come back and say, Kari, you're right. I'm sorry. This looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Looks amazing.
You loved it.
Number one, I think choose your battles.
Yeah.
There's just some things it's done. It's over. Even every year, family vacation comes up. You used to be like, hey, are we going to do this? And we need to do it with my family. Then we need to do this for Christmas vacation. Then we need to go to here for Thanksgiving. I think for both of us, we've kind of settled there where it's like, no, we're going to do what we want to do. It's not a battle. We're not going to fight.
Yeah.
We're going to put our family first. I think that's number one, choose your battle. Number two, for instance, with the furniture, when you're wrong, it is okay to say, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We have this American culture where it's like, we are so entrenched in politics and what state is the best and what is the best car and like America this and our family this and like I feel like we've almost gotten to this place where people literally just cannot say, you know what, I apologize. I was wrong. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we carry that over into especially our marriages and or raising kids to where parents never say they're sorry.
Yeah.
And it's a very heavy, hard, sad, and sinful way to live.
Yeah.
Because we start out in Genesis 3, like Genesis 4, we're heading into some pretty tough times. And even Adam and Eve couldn't just repent and say they're sorry.
Yeah.
It's their fault. Oh, God, it's your fault. You made her. Like it's like from the beginning of time, we cannot learn. It is okay just to be sorry. Yeah. Just to say, personal responsibility. I made a mistake in business, in math. I cheated on my homework. You're right. I said I was going to do this and I was going to mow the yard and I didn't. I got lazy. I apologize. Like if in every circumstance, it would so repair and help a relationship to take that personal responsibility and just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I grew up in a house where my parents, I heard them apologize often. They apologized to each other. My dad, on many occasions, my dad would hug us and say, I was wrong and I'm sorry. That is, I don't know. I feel like it was very rare back then. And I do feel like it's sort of rare now to see the man, the head of the household, and to hear him say, I was wrong and I'm sorry. And I feel like that would solve so much, and
Absolutely.
that would teach children at an early age. I've never had a problem saying my opinion, this, that. And then, you or somebody else says, well, what about this and what about that? And I'm like, you know what? I hadn't seen it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I get how you would see it that way. I'm sorry I was so, dogmatic in my opinion. And I know, like, even a couple of your sisters have said, you change your mind so easily, like, stick with your opinion. And I'm like, no, it's because sometimes I spout off before I see it from someone else's point of view.
Yeah.
And it's okay to see it from someone else's point of view and say, I think I was wrong.
Yeah.
Or I, at least, even if I'm not wrong, I was maybe narrow in my thought process. But that has never been difficult for me because I really did see that modeled. I saw that modeled from my parents. They were amazing at that. And I think it is humbling. Like, now looking back, I'm like, wow, they were so, like, that's tough to do, being parents.
Yeah.
Because, man, you just want to, like,
You
use that authority and push your way. And sometimes it's like, you know what? Even if I was right from an authority point of view, maybe my attitude was, not godly. Maybe I wasn't patient. Maybe I wasn't kind. Even if I was right, I should still be kind.
Yeah.
And we've many times, the both of us have had to say to the kids, like, look, I'm not sorry I made you guys do that, but I'm sorry I lost my temper. And I've heard you say that very many times. Like, guys, I got a little upset and I should have handled that better. We're still doing the same thing, but I'm sorry for the way I presented it or yelled at you guys or whatever. We've both done that. And I just think I've thought so many times counseling adults my age, and I know this is kind of a big thing with the millennials. Like, we're all processing our childhoods, and parents get blamed a lot. A lot of millennials are blaming their parents for how they were raised and how the toxic environments and childhoods and all these things. And there is validity there. I know some of it's kind of dramatic, but there are parents out there who were terrible parents, even Christian parents who did not do right by their kids. So I'm just saying, like, maybe your kid's being dramatic, but maybe it would solve a lot if you just looked at them and said, you know what? I am sorry that was your experience. I'm sorry for my part in it. And I'm sorry I didn't see it when you were a kid. And even if, look, maybe they're making a bigger deal. Maybe they're stretching it. Maybe they're like hopping on this bandwagon of they have trauma and everything. It's possible that you weren't that bad of a parent, but why not just apologize anyway? Yeah. Like, if it were me, and it will be someday with our kids, I would just say, like, you know what? For anything from your perspective that was off or wrong or sinful that I did, I'm sorry. I would never have knowingly or purposefully done that. And I should have been a better parent. And I'm sorry for my part in it. Like, that, apologies just go such a long way.
Yeah.
Instead, we do see a lot of the Gen X parents defending themselves. And there's just not a lot of apologies.
Yeah, they get entrenched.
Yeah.
Apologies, they will rebuild trust faster than time ever will.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's the thing for parents that are in that circumstance, like you said, we will be one day. An apology can be, listen, we did not do anything to purposefully hurt you.
Yeah.
We loved you. We love you now.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up in a time where we were being taught this was right. And maybe we were wrong at that time. And I'm sorry for that. But we were doing it because we loved you. And this was the culture that we grew up and we lived in. Culture changes. Every culture changes. And when our kids are raising our grandkids, if God tarries, then there'll be things that we did to our kids or disciplined them in a way, or had standards or rules in our house that man, our grandkids are going to laugh at. Like,
Yeah.
oh my word, grandma, you did that? Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it to hurt you. We did because we loved you.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, like you're saying, I think an apology of just like, hey, I'm sorry you were hurt by this.
Mm-hmm.
We did not do it to hurt you. We did it because that was the culture in which we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think for the kid that is hearing that, where a parent's going that far, it's time to forgive and to move on.
Yes.
Like that's at the time.
Yes.
How we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but how long are you going to sit around?
Yeah.
Like, oh my word. Okay, listen, there are things and probably standards that a lot of church people grew up in. Like, but to me, for instance, we would go to this camp called the Bill Rice Ranch. Like, okay, my parents sent me to the Bill Rice Ranch. It was 100 degrees, 90% humidity, and we weren't allowed to wear shorts. Like, okay, listen, I'm not going to be bitter for the rest of my life because my thighs were chafed as a 15-year-old playing basketball and flag football outside and then trying to ride a horse that I was allergic to and had an asthma attack. Like, at some point, you can see the bitterness in me. Like, who cares?
I feel like you're not over this yet.
Like, my parents didn't do that to hurt me, but the camp culture was there. Like, we're going to make this kid miserable. It was the world we lived in.
Yeah.
Why you couldn't wear pants at that camp or shorts. I don't know. It was the way it was.
Because I know why. Girls lusted after your legs.
Yeah, I guess.
100%.
But to me, stop living in, oh my word, like I was so abused because we had to go to Tennessee and wear, but like, no. Okay, so you had to wear culottes or you had to wear a skirt or you had to wear pants at camp, or you had to read out of, this version of the Bible, or at some point you have to realize you weren't abused. You lived in a culture.
Yeah.
And that culture was, here's what it is. They were doing the best they can.
Mm-hmm.
Have a the relationship with that parent is so much more than being bitter for the next 30 years.
Yeah. And what's it going to solve?
Zero.
Yeah. It doesn't say, you can't go back and change it.
Nothing. Like, I know in our relationship, there's been things that I've done or said or actions that hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know this.
Yeah.
You can either allow me to apologize genuinely and let's move on, or you sit there and mull over it and keep it in, or I'm just not going to bring it up, and allow what the Bible says of root of bitterness to take root. Yeah. Which will destroy your life, your testimony, your peace of mind.
Oh, absolutely.
You will be anxious. Like, again, there's definitely things that you have to settle. You have to talk these things through. Yeah. But at some point, allow the parents take some responsibility. Like, yeah, we did the best we can. I know there's things that we've done, even to our kids, that I look back and I've had to apologize to our kids. Like, I'm sorry I yelled, or sorry I got so upset, or, sorry you were 3 years old and didn't have your room organized. Like, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I should have known. Yeah. Like, there's things then, but again, that apology is going to rebuild that trust so much faster than just letting it go and let's be mad for the next 20 years. And
an apology is not, I'm sorry, but you don't understand. Yes. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you don't apologize and then put it back on someone. That
makes it worse.
Yeah, it does. I've given apologies before that I truly felt like I did not owe someone. But it came down to right or wrong in their mind that I offended them. Yeah. Whether or not they were being ridiculous about it or I was not seeing it, there was a miscommunication at one of us. But I had to come to the point where it's like, do I want a relationship with this person and do I want to fix this or do I want to be right? Yeah. And I couldn't have both because they were not moving. Yeah. And I couldn't see it their way. So it just came down to who's going to take the step to apologize and take the blame, even if it wasn't deserved, and just say, you are more important to me and our relationship is more important to me than me being right about this. Yeah. It's fine. If you see it from that perspective, you know what? I'm going to apologize. I love you so much that I would rather be wrong and I would rather let you have this than for us to not speak and for us to be, it to be awkward. Right. And an apology is just, I'm sorry, full stop. Yep. That's it. And so I do have one more question. Yeah. Did you have air conditioning in the cabins?
We did not. No.
You didn't have air.
No, not.
So even
not
when
then.
you
they
went,
do now. I've heard.
even
Haven't been
when
back
you
in
went
20
back
years.
to your bed, no air
Yeah.
conditioning.
We would bring massive box fans and just sit in front of them. Me and my cousins. Oh, Paul, David, Philip.
Oh,
We'd sit there and just pour the sweat. It was
you
so
know what?
hot.
We
But we
suffered the
loved it.
same.
It's so funny.
We suffered the same
We'd go
at
back
camp.
every year.
Yeah, but we weren't. I mean, we did have to wear skirts, but at least they weren't like down to our. I mean, jeans and that weather.
Oh, it
that
was,
had to be awful.
Yeah. But you know what?
We had a blast.
Yep, we wanted to go back every year.
We
We
did
loved
too.
it.
We loved it.
I
I
think-
always said
yeah.
ours was a fat camp in disguise. I was like, this is a fat camp where they make you run and sweat all of your body
Why
fat
can't we wear
off.
shorts?
Because we
you
were-
need to sweat it out.
It was like wear a jean skirt or culottes and
Oh, they're the
no
good days.
sleeveless and no air. And it was like, okay, now we're gonna hike to the top of a
Yeah.
mountain
And-
in the afternoon.
And have fun with it. My
We
goodness.
loved
Like
it.
for us,
We loved
okay, like some things were crazy, but again, like own it and move on. And
Yeah.
let me just say this, we got to shut this down, but I think there's also a part in leadership, especially church leadership. I've been a pastor for a lot of years now. I have my tenure in it that it's okay as leaders to be wrong.
Mm.
And it's okay as a leader even to say, you know what, guys, this was a bad idea, or I should have listened to your idea, or
Mhm.
I'm sorry,
Mm.
I feel like so oftentimes in our spiritual life, we feel like we reach the apex of our spirituality
Mhm.
very early on.
Mm.
People stop growing. People stop like, no, I've got it all down, my philosophy, my methodology. No, we can all be wrong.
Mhm.
And I think that it's so funny because we read Proverbs. Some people read Proverbs every day, but yet we really do not learn from it. We do not grow from it. And we ought to grow in such a way that we are always growing
Mhm.
to where even as leaders, as pastors, as a lot of volunteers work under all of our ministries, we can step up and say, man, I dropped the ball here.
Yeah.
I apologize. I shouldn't
Yeah.
have embarrassed you that way. I shouldn't have talked to you that way. You were right about whatever event.
Mhm.
I think if there's any pastors or pastors' wives listening to this, grow in that area.
Mhm.
Grow into a way that it's not your church and my way or the highway. It's love people, learn from people, and when those moments come that you were wrong, it is okay to be the leader that says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I should not have
Mhm.
done that. And I'm going to try my best to never allow this to happen again, or I'm definitely going to learn from it.
Yeah.
You and your staff members will grow so much closer.
Mm,
They
that's
will
good.
learn from you to even when they mess up, to step up and I didn't run this, or forgot to get there early, or forgot to call this volunteer.
Mhm.
They'll take the blame instead of
Mm.
trying to hide it. Now I'm going to get, reprimanded, or I'm going to get that. Just have a culture in a church environment where people take that next step of saying, this is on me. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah. The leader should take the blame, even for, things that, like you said, it might not have been entirely their fault. But I said this the other day at my work, like, I'm sorry that happened. It wasn't my fault, but it's my agency.
Yeah.
And so it was my fault because I'm the leader. So if my staff is not trained properly, if we are not thorough in what we do, that falls on me.
Yeah.
That's my problem to fix. And I'm sorry. And looking at that client and saying that was hard
Yeah.
because I wanted to be like, they did it. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
And truly, I mean, there's grounds to say those things, but
Sure.
it's not going to fix anything.
Right.
What that client wants to hear is, I understand what you're saying. I'm learning from it and I'm fixing it.
Yeah.
And
love that.
that's, I mean, you keep people that way.
I
You
love
really
it.
do.
I love it.
That
Well,
was
hopefully-
powerful.
I hope everybody can learn from this. I promise you, your relationships they'll grow.
Yeah.
Parents, spouses, teenagers,
Mm.
step up to the plate. Mom, dad, I'm sorry, I messed up. To a teacher, to a professor, like leadership, pastor down, like everyone, we all can grow in this area.
Absolutely.
David was repentant.
Yeah.
David was, God, I am sorry. And I really believe that ought to be our mission in life as well.
I love it.
Kari, close us out, would you?
Yes. I did not expect that. Thank you for listening. We hope this is a help to you. We hope it's a help to your family. We'll see you next week.